You know, former Senator Phil Gramm used to say that money is the mother's milk of politics. It didn't help him, even though early on he was raising a lot of money. But it's the only thing sometimes early on you have to go on. So you follow the money crowd, the amount of funds that candidates are raising, small, medium, large donations. And right now, Senator Kamala Harris is getting a lot of money raised. Within 24 hours of announcing, for example, in largely small donations, she raised more than $1.5 million. That number has gotten significantly larger as Hollywood titans and other party interests are beginning to gravitate to her. The Independent Women's Forum Director of Policy, Hadley, Heath Manning. Now, Hadley, I'm always cautious about assigning too much to this. I mean, there were reports that Hillary Clinton had a substantial money lead over Barack Obama, obviously in 2008. But what we were discovering in 2008 is that he was raising a lot of sums in small donations at the time that ultimately led to bigger donations. So it's worth paying attention to. Is she worth paying attention to?
I think so, precisely because of some of the similarities she has with former President Obama. I think smart Democrats know they have to reassemble what I call the Obama coalition. We're talking about young voters, people of color, and women. And if they perform very well with that group in 2020, especially if they have, a lot of enthusiasm headed into the 2020 presidential election, I think that's something that Senator Harris could provide. And I think she's a candidate to watch. I think she could reunite that coalition.
That coalition obviously got Barack Obama elected twice. But the thing you discovered is that it didn't necessarily apply to gains in other branches. In other words, governorships at the time, either House of Congress at the time. I mean, obviously, there was a run of the table Democrats enjoyed when Barack Obama first came in. But who would likely have the significant coattails to pull something off like that? Senator Harris, or what do you think?
Oh, I think Senator Harris, again, looking to what she can learn from former President Obama, he was, as a legislator, pretty far to the left if you look at his voting record. But
Absolutely.
When he ran for president, he pivoted towards the middle, at least when it came to his branding and to his marketing, with this hope and change slogan and so forth. This is something that I think Senator Harris has to learn. She came out swinging for Medicare for all, maybe was a little bit too honest about how that program could ultimately eliminate private health insurance options, and then she had to walk that back. She is a senator from California. California is not America. So politically, on the issues, she may have to moderate on certain issues if she wants to get traction with voters who are more middle of the road.
But doesn't she also have an advantage with the California primary front-loaded now in March that it used to be an afterthought? The nominee was almost all but established, and now, could go a long way toward influencing who that nominee is.
That's right. It never hurts to come from a very populous state, and especially, as you mentioned, Neil, with the timeline with Californians voting early. I think that's something to note. But I think we also have to look at the rest of the field. Where are the other candidates coming from? What do they have to offer? So far, we see a couple very powerful women senators from other states, like New York, and, of course, Senator Warren coming from Massachusetts. So I think that those are candidates to watch. I think Harris has a leg up on them, maybe because she comes from California, also because I think that she's more politically attractive. But I think that we are still waiting to see if a couple of gentlemen, namely Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders, are going to jump into the race. They would be a very different type of candidate for Democrats to consider. But that's something that we're going to see sorted out in the next several months as people start to throw their hats into the ring.
All right, a lot of hats in that ring. Hadley, very good speaking with you again. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.